It's aliens and they're living in your town. They have arrived. What? They're all around. So many aliens living in your town.
Hello, everybody. Welcome to another episode of the Weird and Whatever podcast. How the hell is everyone?
Doing good.
Doing excellent.
All right. You guys sound fired up over here. You guys doing good?
Yeah,
How's your week been?
everything's good so far.
Everyone survived the Armageddon.
Yes.
It did not happen.
Did not happen.
We talked about that last week. Did you hear that the guy that said the end of the world that was going to be coming, it's not going to happen this month. It's happening October, I believe, 13th or 14th. He just got the days wrong.
So
They
he could be
always
wrong twice in a really short period of time.
Well, I mean, if anyone follows this jackass, it's on you. And people will. People will still follow. There'll be a percentage of the population that says, oh, yeah, the end of the world's coming. Yeah, but I believe from October 15th coming up for the next 7 years, it's supposed to be hell on earth.
Really?
Again.
Well, geez, the last 6 months has felt like hell on earth.
Is that what they're saying?
According to this, we talked about this guy last week. If you did miss it, he said that Armageddon, the end of days, were going to be coming. What was it, last Saturday?
Yep, last Saturday, and it went gone by.
I'm here, you're here, we made it. But then he said, oh yeah, no, it starts next month.
That always happens, though. They're constantly revising those.
They do. On the show today, we have a lot to talk about. Today, Vicky was on the regular KVJ show.
That's
and
right.
Her topic blew up, man.
Really? I haven't heard it yet. I saw some of the aftershocks of it, though.
Yes, you missed a doozy. So this is an EVP you got. If you don't mind, please explain EVP one more time to our audience.
It's electronic voice phenomena. It's when we take recorders on investigations, and when we go to review it, we find voices on there that we did not audibly hear on location.
So if you don't mind, tell us what went down.
It was any ordinary investigation. It was down in Pompano. It was actually someone who had watched The Weird and Whatever and contacted me. And we went down there. We investigated. We had a lot of personal interactions while we were there, including a little ghost cat that we came across.
Okay, we had some comments about that. What did you see when you see a ghost cat? Was it in?
We don't see it. We feel it.
How did you know?
Well, we knew there were more than one investigator. There were three of us that night. There was myself, Bobby Joe, and Allison.
Bobby
Joe?
And we just kept feeling like movement around our legs. And usually, typically, if you feel something that low down, it's an animal. So at one point, I stepped out of the room we were in. I asked the client, did the person who used to live here, did they own any pets? And it was confirmed that they owned a cat. So, we just call it the ghost cat at that point.
Okay,
All right.
very cool. Is it possible that it could be a ghost slithering to your legs?
That's always a possibility. In fact, I have one ongoing case where the client has actually seen this really thin creature thing crawling on the floor, like from a horror movie.
Okay, what would freak you out more, Beckett? If the spirit or the whatever this is, the entity, it was hovering over you, or if it slithered on the ground? What's creepier?
I think the slither. Just the fact that you said slither made it worse.
Slither's horrifying.
Because I hate snakes.
Yeah, Denny's. What about you?
Well, so one night a long time ago, I was coming home and it was late, and we had just watched a horror film, me and my ex-girlfriend. At the time she was my girlfriend. So we were getting back, and this creature came out as we were walking, revealed just by like the light strands, and it was like walking on its knuckles towards us. I freaked out. I didn't know what it was. I thought it was like a gremlin. And it turns out it's a bat. Bats crawl on their knuckles.
Oh,
Dude, it horrified me.
Really?
Yeah, it's weird.
That's scary. And the other thing, did we talk about this about kangaroos and how they look like
Kangaroos are so weird. They're so surreal to look at.
I haven't seen one in person.
Did we talk about that on this podcast?
No.
Oh my gosh, you got to check out these kangaroos, man.
Yeah.
They're infesting everywhere in Australia.
So Australia, they're common around there, so people usually just give them space, but they'll totally come out of the woods and like chill in your yard and then bounce out.
They're jacked up too. They look like they've been working out. I
Yeah.
mean, they're built like a boxer.
Yeah, I saw a video went viral where the guy like
Punched
Punched
it.
a guy because it went after his dog or something.
He had his dog in a headlock. He looked like he was about to snap the dog.
And then he like totally squared up with him.
Yeah, he did.
It looked like a hostage standoff.
Yeah.
And the guy just beat the shit out of him.
That's what you do with them, I guess. I guess they're a nuisance.
And the Roo, it had like an expression on
I'm
it.
stunned.
It was stunned. It was like, oh shit, you just punched me.
And left.
It's a fascinating video.
I love that video.
Okay, Vicky, sorry, as you were.
So when we, what we like to do after we leave an investigation, if it's not too late, we usually go back to my house and we start reviewing, because when we get something, we have to have everyone there listen to it to make sure it wasn't them and make sure it wasn't the client, make sure this, whatever.
And is that why you roll multiple tape?
Yes. And in this particular case where we picked this up, we had 5 recorders going, 2 of mine, 2 of Bobby Joe's, and Allison's recorder. And they were in different locations throughout the room.
Okay, so we had a lot of comments about this Allison girl, and I've never met her, and I'm not at all trying to throw her under the bus, but people are saying, okay, she's this new investigator. How can you trust her? How do you know she wasn't the one that said something on the EVP we're about to play?
Well, first of all, we were all in the room. That's number one. So we would have audibly heard her. And if she had said it in the room, all of the recorders would have also picked it up. And so far, we only have 1 out of the 5 that picked it up, and we've reviewed 3 of them. So we still have 2 more to review. But of the 3, only 1 picked it up. And when I say new, I say relatively new for point, because most of my members have been with me 8+ years. So she she contacted me towards the beginning of the Weird and Whatever. I went to her house to do a walkthrough and gave her a reading, and she coincidentally lived like 1 street over from one of my very good friends, and then I started taking her on investigations. This is not her first time out.
Gotcha. So the EVP we're speaking of, you send it to me, you ask me, hey, what do you hear? I clearly hear it right away, and I obviously think that it is my mom. It does sound like my mom. I've had family members confirm it too. They all say it sounds like my mom. So tell me what was going on when you found this EVP.
Well, it was actually, that's why it sounds so weird, because I had said something and Bobby Joe was being a little, and that's what that part is in the beginning. And the cat sound was me basically saying, wow, you're being catty. And I go, rare, because she was kind of being catty. And it's in between those 2 things when Bobby Joe was,
Were you
being
guys having like
catty
a scuffle? A little bit of
A ghost scuffle?
a little quarrel?
Well, we
fight?
we have if it's tense or something like that, we usually joke around a little bit and things like that. So she was just kind of maybe mimicking me a little bit and making fun of me. So I just cat called her back. So
we're gonna play the EVP. I want to. So you know what it says, and obviously you know what it says, Vicky. Mr. Beckett, do you have any idea what it does say? Did you see anything of the comments?
No.
All right, perfect. We're gonna play it for you. Let's see if you can hear something in the background other than Vicky and the other investigators talking.
Okay.
All right, you got. Did you?
Crank it.
Yeah, someone talking? Oh, like
I mean,
the
I can
whisper
hear-
sound?
There's a whisper.
Okay.
Can you? Okay, you're on.
I can hear it
something.
so clearly.
I can hear it
Yeah.
so clearly.
I can hear the whisper.
All right, what does it say?
I can't.
Here,
keep
I'll play it again.
All right.
I can't make it out.
okay, why don't I point to you when the actual EVP is, so you know, because there's all that in
Okay.
the beginning. Okay, you ready?
I hear it. Can't make it out there.
To me and to a lot of people, it sounds like it says Jaybird.
It does. It
Play
really
it again.
does.
Play it again.
So now that you know the word, you'll hear it.
Oh, yeah. I hear it.
So, okay, you being the skeptic, this is perfect. You're exactly who I want to talk to. Because you are out there. There's a breed of you. Power of suggestion, or is there something there?
I think it's cooler that it was not on, it wasn't at your house.
It was not at my house. Vicky has been, this is the second time Vicky's reached out, and I've known you for how many years? Over 10, I
Yeah,
think.
10, yeah.
She's never reached out to me about anything with my mom, nothing like that. And, was it a month ago you had said you thought
Somewhere around there.
you had
Yeah.
a message from my mother?
Yeah, and I even hesitated to even contact you because it wasn't specific at that point, and I didn't want to seem like I was trying to start something. I was going to keep it to myself, but then somebody kept nudging me to go ahead and text you.
So some of the I would say on the negative side of this, okay, Jay Bird, whatever. You do the Weird and Whatever podcast, so you're clearly trying to get material. That's one thing I heard. The other thing is power of suggestion. The other thing I heard, it's the new investigator, or it's somebody was there. So I'm trying to shoot down all of the naysayers, what they're saying. What's your final analysis on this?
My final analysis is that of all the things that I can think of that we talk about, I'm the least skeptical about something like this. Because if we talk about the moon landing, like I know plenty of reasons why.
Them's are fighting words with Denny's.
Skepticism changes places during that combo.
I know plenty of or lizard people. Like I know plenty. I
It
know.
always comes back to lizard people.
I
with
know-
all of them.
I mean, it's totally possible there could be.
I can give
9
plenty
foot
of
tall
reasons
lizards.
why the conspiracy theories are BS, scientifically, everything.
Yeah.
But there's nothing here that I have that makes me disprove that, right? Does that make sense?
It totally makes
Yeah.
sense. And I also don't think that there's a lot of mean skeptics that listen to this, when to this podcast,
Right.
The KVJ show, without a doubt. But this is such a niche-y, specific type of thing. I don't think people are, tuning in to go, that shit's fake. I just don't see that happening.
Yeah, for sure.
And I'm open-minded.
That was pretty convincing.
Now, yeah, you were
Well-
talking about grades of EVPs. And
That's a Class A.
That's a Class
That's a Class A.
A.
What happened, it was on Bobby Joe's recorder. So she was sitting on the couch and she goes, I have something in between. You'll hear me and you hear you, and there's something in between. She hands me the headphones, and I'm like, 2 seconds. I'm like, that's Jaybird. It was
Yeah.
like, it was so clear to me. It just jumped out.
Play it
Here, I'll
one more
play it
time. Yeah,
again.
one more time. And the weird thing is, and then we'll wrap this segment up. That does sound like my mom.
Really?
Absolutely. Yeah. Because I do believe in a lot of stuff, but I'm also a skeptic on some level.
Right.
I don't want to.
Especially something that's serious.
Yes, I don't.
sure.
Exactly. I don't want to believe in something like that,
Right.
where I really don't full-heartedly believe that. And it's my family members even said, "Holy shit, that sounds like mom."
Yeah.
So
Wow.
it was very cool.
And if
That
I
is
were
cool.
going to fake it, I would have faked it in a different situation other than Bobby Joe going, "Ha-da-da-da-da," and me doing it. I mean,
yeah, and there's always
that's,
gonna,
I wouldn't even think about. I mean, that's ridiculous.
There's always going to be someone who says you're fake.
So what does Class A mean? That means the
Class
quality.
A is that it's clear. It's very clear.
That is a clear EVP.
That one you don't have to, like, I don't ever filter any of our EVPs. Some teams, they put them through programs and they take out the background noise and they raise this and they do that. Mine are completely unaltered. That is exactly the way it was on the recorder, is exactly the way we cut it and store it as a file.
So what do you think that means? Does that, in your experience, is that like an initial reach out and then you find that there are subsequent ones, or is that usually a
Well,
one-off?
I think her initial was when she showed up in my room. And now, actually, I've always had a fear, to be honest, that I would go on an investigation, because everybody who knows me personally knows how much I want everything to be truthful and valid. I've always been scared as an investigator that I had a spirit coming along with me, and I go to a location, and I get an EVP, and I say that it's connected to the client when it's really connected to me. And the fact that she came through an investigation, I think she was very careful, though. She wanted to make sure that it seemed valid, because the only other EVPs we got were male. So she knew there were no other females that could have imprinted an EVP on my recorder. So she thought this was the time to go ahead and do it. That's what I believe.
Does the class mean something, meaning that it's a stronger spirit, or they're
No, it just
they're
means
trying
that
harder?
their communication was just more clear.
It does not surprise me that my mom was loud at all. Full-blooded Italian woman. She's gonna make some noise. We got called out, and when I say we, I mean the boys on the show.
Oh, really?
Not Vicky. A comment that we had gotten, it was on our YouTube, and I'm paraphrasing. Vicky's the only one that's an expert on anything. You
Right.
guys don't know what you're talking about. So I want to battle right now. She's the expert, and then there's three of us. It's the Hunger Games. Now you're a teacher, you're an educator, Vicky. So this should be easy for you. I'm going to ask you to think on the fly here. I want you to give us an impromptu quiz on all the ghost stuff, all the psychic stuff you have taught me, Denny's, and Mr. Beckett, and we were battling. It's like Hunger Games, baby. Whoever gets the most right here out of 5. You can come up with 5 questions.
Yeah, I'm sure I can.
Okay.
Okay, Mr. Beckett, you're up first.
Oh, she got her teacher voice.
What is an earthbound spirit?
It's something that's tied to the earth that can't leave our atmosphere.
You're okay until you got to atmosphere. Okay.
I like how atmosphere? Question mark. So he's wrong.
So it would be it'd be something that we had talked about in the past where you give them, like, if someone's hanging around, like, you're able to let them pass on to the next. We've talked about that, right? Like, they're kind of stuck. They need
someone to
like,
help coax them through.
Yeah.
Okay.
Earthbound.
I'll accept that answer.
Okay, very all right.
Yeah.
I'll accept
that.
Nice.
All right, Denny's.
All right, Denny's. Let's see. I'm trying to make it more difficult than I don't want them to be yes or no. Tell me, what are some signs of a demonic haunt?
Ooh, demonic haunt.
You love demons.
What about speaking in tongues? Levitation?
Levitation, I'll give you that.
I think he's going to Hollywood on this.
He's going. You're really reaching.
You can't tell me in the history of exorcisms and demonic possessions that there hasn't been tongues spoken.
Yeah, but you are going straight off of a movie, not what we learned on the podcast. I know your games.
Well, all right. So levitation, I would imagine, is in there. What about excessive vomiting?
That's in the movies.
What about telling you lies?
That could be.
In different
You're
tongues.
telling lies.
You'd
right
have to be a
now.
little more specific with that one, though.
I'd imagine they'd look creepy. They'd be walking down the stairs
All right.
backwards.
You can fail him if you want.
You're getting ready to get the buzzer in a minute here.
Oh no!
Buzzer's good, right?
No.
No, all right.
That's all you
I
got?
think that's all I
Anything
got.
else?
I mean,
Okay.
Partial
what-
credit. Partial credit. on that?
partial.
Partial, yeah, he gets partial.
Okay.
What else would they do?
Well, when signs of a demonic haunt you want to look for, which we've talked about, we look
Cold
for.
room. Sorry, last
No,
one.
that could be a ghost. That could be a ghost.
Vicky,
Sorry.
I apologize. I'm very embarrassed. And that dude on YouTube was very right. You are bringing us down, Denny.
No, but some of the signs of demonic haunt is first you're going to have everything that's going to look like a regular haunt. Then you're going to have some oppression where people in the house, they're not going to be able to sleep. They're not functioning. They're not eating. They're not doing things properly. Then you have possession. And a demon's ultimate goal is that someone needs to die.
Come on, Denny's.
Wow.
I mean,
And we have talked about that more than once on the show.
Miss Vicky, I was listening.
Do you remember in school when, like, the teacher would totally call out the kid for not reading the book but watching the movie?
Oh, man. I always got called out in school. Always got called out. Oh, the worst would be I had one teacher, they would go down the aisles so you knew when your time was coming
Oh,
up.
you could feel it.
So the girl in front of me, she would answer. She was so smart. And then go, Mr. Pennington, do you know the answer? I'm like, oh. And I'd always make up shit. Always.
The best is at Pope. My friend, we would always have laughing fits, and we would have to go through the vocab. And it was like, say there was 20 kids in our class, we would always count out. Like, if you didn't do your homework, like, what number we would be. And so my buddy's like, all right, I'm number 15. I'm number 15. And he'll, like, look it up and figure out the thing.
But
And then
sometimes they'll switch it up
and
on
someone
you.
gets up to go to the bathroom. He's like,
Yeah.
Yeah.
If I was a teacher, I would make kids always do verbal assignment, oral assignments. I make them get up there and do speeches constantly because I know half of them are so scared to do it.
Oh, yeah.
But I think
That's useful.
That's good.
But
That's
I think
conditioning.
it's good. Yeah, I wish more teachers would have made me get up in front of people. I think that's such a skill. So many people are scared to talk in front of people. I mean, deathly afraid of
yeah,
it.
look at you now. You only do it in front of thousands of people every morning.
I mean, I don't give a shit now. But I mean,
When you're a kid, I mean,
when
that's
you-
crippling.
It's scary,
yeah,
man.
some people are fear.
Oh, big time.
Jay Bird's turn.
All right.
Oh man, I was trying to deflect.
This question has a purpose.
Oh my gosh,
Okay.
I'm gonna blow it.
Jason, give me some reasons why it's not a good idea to play with a Ouija board.
Well, you yourself can become possessed by it. I also think that it can invite. It's really a portal, Denny's, is what it is. It's you don't want to invite spirits in there. And another classic sign of this is sometimes you think you're talking to a loved one, and it's not. It is somebody acting like it is, faking the funk.
That would be a demon, something demonic.
It would show signs, speaking in tongues.
Don't be kissing ass, Mr. Beckett. Do I get credit?
Look who's talking about kissing ass. Yes, you get full credit for that one.
Yeah, Denny's
See,
is
we
the weak.
plus.
listen. I got like at least half credit.
Denny's
yes.
is the weak link. Denny's is the weak link.
Beckett dropped the word atmosphere.
Yeah, he lost. He was really good until you did atmosphere.
Well, I think what we should do now, okay, Vicky's the expert in ghost stuff. I'll be more of the cryptozoology type thing. Beckett, you can be conspiracy. You'll be the one that knows everything about conspiracy.
And Einstein.
And Einstein. I mean, that kind of goes.
But I think it's good because I think since she's the expert on it, the three of us are kind of mediums to the public, if you will, of interpreting and asking questions of the experts. So we kind of help filter and help our audience understand it.
What he said.
I agree with Beckett.
That's good. You should get into politics. Do you guys want to do some rap songs? You have those.
Everybody do their homework.
Speaking of public speaking,
Yeah.
public rapping. So we said we were going to do this about a month and a half ago, and it was everyone had to come up with a rap song about something we've learned here on the podcast.
Be it paranormal, cryptozoology, all of that.
Any of that stuff, and I'm going to be the judge. I'm not going to.
Oh, you're not gonna rap?
No, man, because
You're the best out of all of us.
I'm really not that good, and I always do this stuff. It's about y'all. It's about you
He
guys.
doesn't want to show everybody up.
It's about
He's the
you.
lead in song.
Yeah, I'm not good.
So I got I got our songs. I didn't get a track from you, Beckett.
I was just gonna freestyle.
Oh, you go acapella.
acapella?
I can drop a beat too. I can beatbox.
Actually,
for
I'm
it.
better without a beat.
It's like Papa Doc.
I'm actually very excited for this. Oh my goodness. Okay, so Denny's, you're gonna be our DJ.
Yes, I got the tracks right here.
Who wants to go first? Who wants to get it over with?
I want to get it over with.
You want to get it over?
I want to apologize to our listeners ahead of time. I cannot carry a tune in a designer handbag, so he does have my beat. I cannot swear that I'm going to stay on it.
Is this something that's out of your comfort zone?
Yes.
What about you?
What, hip hop
Beckett?
rapping on a radio?
I actually did this on this TV show.
Oh, that's right. Yeah, that's right.
Come on,
But,
Bird.
but it's definitely out of my comfort zone.
Okay.
So I'm the only one here who's never performed.
Yeah, because Denny's
I'm at a
rap.
disadvantage
The
here.
last time we did a show, because we have a little group called the Snack Pack, and Denny's is one of the rappers on it now. Our whole group's evolved over the years, and we watched back the tape at our last show.
It was rough.
It was about a year ago, and for whatever reason, the person running the sound,
The sound guy had to run to another place.
he had
so-
like poopy cramps or something.
so he left it unattended.
He had Denny's voice. So all you heard was Denny's peaceful ass rap it over everybody.
Oh, it was so rough.
It was so loud. How no one even said anything.
Nobody said it. I couldn't believe it. I found out like 3 months later.
So the point of that story is, Vicky, yeah, we perform in front of people, but it's never good.
It's not awesome.
Yeah.
Okay, so what I did in the tradition of Weird Al and like Randy Rainbow now, I took a song and I switched the words to it. So I am going to do Gangsta's Paradise, but I changed it to Demon's Paradigm.
That's creative.
I love it.
Oh,
I'm
I
very
think I was
excited.
gonna throw in the towel.
Oh man. Okay. All right. You ready to
So I
go?
have one of those.
oh yeah.
Yeah. Vicky Vic.
As I walk through the valley of the shadow of death, I take a look at the souls and wonder who be next. Cause I've been possessing and creeping so long that even Satan thinks that my mind is gone. But I ain't never crossed a soul that didn't deserve it. Thinking I don't exist, you know that's unheard of. You better watch your Ouija and who you be calling, or you and your girlfriends might be followed and stalking. I really hate to say it, but I got it though. You ghosts ain't shit with your ecto though. Fool, I'm the kind of demon all the impies want to be like, on my knees in the night, singing praise to the Satan knights. Been spending most my time possessing in the demon's paradigm. Been spending most my time possessing in the demon's paradigm. And I'm done.
Nice.
I didn't mean to try to chime in there. I was trying to get you back on beat. That's
I know.
great.
That was
great.
That was.
What a wordsmith. Oh, you can tell you spent some time
It was
with
like a
Emily.
whole
No, actually,
section.
that took like 5 minutes.
That's wow, genius. I thought it was
That's
great.
really smart. I totally didn't understand the assignment well.
No, I took the assignment and made it easy on myself.
I'm such a bad student. That was so smart to put it to an existing song.
Oh, yeah.
Are you telling us we got an original from Mr. Beckett?
I just sat in my car and wrote.
I love it.
Actually, I asked one of my buddies for input too, but
I always love to see an artist's process, and how they come up with their rhymes.
I think Denny should go next.
Okay, Denny's.
I did an Ridge as well.
What do you got?
I'm doing mine about the Dogman, South Africa, that they spotted out there, and it's been also spotted in Brazil.
Do we need an intro, or can you just go in there?
I'm gonna jump in this.
I love it. All right, Dogman, you said?
Dogman. So I'm gonna tell you guys a little bit. It's educational and it's fun.
Love it. I'm enjoying myself so much.
All right. My name is Denny's and I'm really into Dogman. Run around the woods fast as a dog can. He's been sighted out in South Africa, making people vanish like abracadabra.
Oh.
Half dog, half man, running all fours like a four-wheel van. Been seen creeping in the night, hiding from the public, staying out of sight. He's the Dogman, hair like Beckett. He's the Dogman, he's the Dogman, he's the Dogman, hiding like a ghost. Ask Vicky Bennett.
Crushed it! Crushed it! Dude!
That's like Mike. That's mic drop. That might be the new lead-in song.
I love that song!
I hope you guys learned something too.
I would jam out to that getting ready. Like, Dogman. You can even go get on the mother in Dogman.
Yeah, exactly. I know. I'm trying to keep it PG-13.
That beat was dope.
Yeah, that's MIA. She's on point.
I love it. I like Beckett. That beat was dope. I'm very impressed right now. I'm very, very happy. Okay.
I should maybe come back later when I have a beat to my song.
No,
No,
man.
man.
Because I'm just gonna go naked like rabbits.
Go naked. Be exposed. That's what this is about.
Okay. Bitch boy Beckett here on the mic. Not scared.
What is it about?
What's that?
What's it about?
It's just about the show.
Okay. All right. So I didn't mean
I talk a little bit about everything.
Gotcha. Okay. I didn't mean to interrupt you. I was wondering.
I kind of give a shout out to the haters. You can tell already.
Okay. I like
I
it.
love it. I love it.
Yeah, I love it.
My favorite episode was when we read hate mail. I think we should do that again.
We can easily
plenty
do
of
that.
it.
All right, you guys ready?
Ready.
Bitch boy Beckett here on the mic. Not scared of aliens or the paranormal tonight. I know my laugh can be annoying, and y'all believers think I'm just toying. You laugh at me now because you think I'm full of fright? Well, let me see your ass next to Bigfoot, and let's see who puts up a bigger fight.
Oh,
You went after the haters.
nice. Bold move.
Love it. That's great. Well, we clearly have to do more assignments like this.
Yeah, they're fun.
That was fun.
Anytime I have a beat, it just messes me up.
That
I hear you.
that happens a lot too. I don't know if you've ever seen. Was it Coldplay? They were it was Coldplay for the hurricane relief up in Texas or for Houston, and they're doing a song, and the audience starts to clap,
And they're
and they're
oh so off time.
It's like they're on acid or something.
And it messes you up.
Oh my gosh! If you're the artist, like shut the fuck up.
Right?
Oh my god. So I gotta say, I was very impressed with everybody. Great job. That was a lot of fun.
All three were very different.
They were.
Very
That was
different.
awesome.
Look at that.
I love it. Denny's very impressed.
Killed it.
I want you guys to learn about the Dogman.
I'm the dog man.
There's been sightings.
I might listen to that on my jog tomorrow.
Yeah, no, it's a club thumper. It gets the body going.
You can dance to it, but it also makes you think.
That might be his new nickname, is Dogman.
I love it. All right, let's get serious. We didn't get to this last week. Someone wanted to know if you had absolute knowing of how and when you're going to die, would you want to know? And if you did, what's the reasoning behind that? Let's start off with Mr. Denny's. Mr. Dogman.
What was the question? Sorry, I was thinking about something.
He was just basking in his glory over there.
I was lost
He's
in
like, I
thought.
just
Yeah, hey, run DMC. Come back to the show.
What was the question?
You're gonna make me read all that shit again?
Just paraphrase.
You're the fog man. Okay, if you had absolute knowing of how and when you're going to die, would you want to know? And if so, why?
I would not want to know.
All right, explain.
Well, so if you know, I mean, it's so tough. What if you get a really shitty hand?
You can say
Like,
shitty.
Yeah, all right. What if you get a really shitty hand? You get like 2 weeks from that day. Now it's over. You can't just live your life. You can't just enjoy it. I mean, you're going to worry for 2 weeks until you die. If it's in the super future, it almost gives you too much power because I mean, if it's guaranteed that you're going to die at this age, at this place, you can do anything you wanted. But the two-sided blade here is what if you get incarcerated? Now and you live your days in prison.
Well, that's just the Twilight Zone episode.
Well, that's what I'm saying. So I mean, that's why I was always afraid to ever become a vampire when I was younger. I was afraid if I became a vampire and I got incarcerated for a crime I didn't commit or something where I got life sentence, you would be in there forever.
I mean, but common fear.
Because you're immortal. You would just live forever.
Common fear for kids too, becoming a vampire.
I developed this fear around 11.
That's what scared you about becoming a vampire.
Well, it was one of the things.
Was vampires? That was a scary thing for you as a kid.
Well, so when I was young, that movie Interview with a Vampire came out. Anne Rice was like huge. Everybody's reading Anne Rice. You can turn a corner without Anne Rice. And so my parents were watching the movie, and they're like, "Yeah, sit down. We're watching a movie." I fucking watched this movie. I was young, man. I was like, holy hell.
I said you could say S-bombs.
I could not believe, as a kid, you're watching this. I mean, there's one scene where they kill a girl on stage, and it's pretty intense. I was like, oh, shit.
How old were you?
I mean, whenever that movie came out, I think it was, probably like 5th or 6th grade.
Yeah.
So, like, it was pretty intense for me at that time. So, I never really was afraid of vampires. Like, I'd be walking home and get stalked by one.
They're the sexier of creatures that are weird and creepy.
Absolutely. Like being a werewolf would kind of be awful because it's unpredictable whenever you have the full moon, and sometimes the full moon, the new moon looks like a full moon. You don't know.
I feel like a werewolf transforming would be painful.
Be terrible every time. You ruin your clothes constantly.
Vicky, because we do go all over the place.
I would not want to know.
What was your? I mean, we originally asked, what would you want to know if you're gonna die? And
Yeah, I
go on a
don't.
vampire. This is kind of like what our conversation.
The
like
short answer is no. I don't want to know.
All right, Vicky, your turn.
No, every year, you have to take the annual physical, and the doctor's always saying, well, don't you want to do this test and this test? And I say, no, I want my death to be a nice surprise.
I feel
For
that
real.
way too on a lot of the tests. Not that I don't want to be, check on my body and make sure it's okay, but you're right. If it's almost like ignorance is bliss on some. I mean, I get that you want to find out, you want to make sure you get things before they become a problem.
For sure.
But if it's something already that's going to screw me over, I don't know if I want to know.
Right. And I don't want to know. I may change the things I do, the things I say, my relationships, if I know when I'm going to die. I just think it's too dangerous for us to know when we're going to
Okay.
Yeah.
Beckett?
One of my favorite Yogi Berra quotes, I think it was Yogi Berra. He goes, I want to find out where I'm going to die and then never go to that place.
He's got quite
a solid
few.
quote.
Yeah, he's good.
I think I would definitely want to know.
You would want to know.
Especially when more than how. But definitely, yeah.
Well, why? Because they got completely different answers here.
Because I'm big on reverse engineering. So whether it's a goal I have or it's even something as small as a school project, and so I'd like to work backwards. So if I had, whether it was a year or 50 years, I could plan. I could plan for it and like work up to that date.
Yeah, so Virginia on our show has almost the same mentality. She'll say, I would want to know so I can get all my affairs in order and tell everyone that I love them and all that stuff. And my rebuttal always is, well, maybe you should do that. I mean, not the affairs stuff. I get that you have to do stuff, all that. But as far as making sure you let everyone know that, hey, I love you, that's something I think we all should practice. And I'm not saying she doesn't do that.
For sure. But
that's just something I
should
think
be common
And
practice.
Agreed.
I think the way that I kind of put my mind around it too, that makes me believe that, is that, when someone dies tragically and instantly, I feel like the grief is always tougher. Where I have one of my closest girlfriends of mine. She's been my close friend since 5th grade. Her mom had cancer, lived 6 months, passed away. Her mom was like classic hippie. Was an actual hippie back in the day, and just all spiritual and everything like that. She left my friend, her daughter, in such, as good of a place as you could be in, that at her mom's funeral, I was just amazed about it. But it was a testament to how the mom was in terms of like how she was at peace with everything. She had time to prepare, all that stuff. So I think that if you know when, rather than just not waking up one day or getting in a car accident, I think that you can be your loved ones. I just think that's a nicer way to leave friends and family. Also, if I wouldn't save for retirement anymore either. I just just go have fun.
Yeah, there was you remember that show? There's an old show, Rupert, that had the white bear who wore he looked like he wore like a Paddington coat almost. It was an old you guys know. Well, it's an old cartoon.
Wow.
And
no one knows what you're talking about.
And it's really cool, and I'm going to give it to you. I'm going to surmise it for you guys
Go
here.
ahead, Rupert.
So somebody watching or listening will know that show,
No, you're
Rupert.
right. Someone will say, Denny's, I know who Rupert is.
And that's all I'm looking for, is just one person. But anyway, so in this episode, he goes to this wizard's castle, and the wizard's like, whatever you do, don't look in this globe. It'll show you how you die. And the wizard's like, I got to run some errands. And he runs off. And Rupert, of course, goes to touch it. And he's like, nah, I'm not going to. And the wind blows, and it reveals his death. And he's like, oh my God, and he's rattled. So then he sees the wizard's death as well, and his best friend, and he has to make the choice of which one to save, whatever. But he realizes in his attempt to save all of them from their deaths, he actually causes all of their deaths.
Wow.
From his attempt to stop it, meaning that no matter what happens, whether you get deja vu and you're like, this is the place I die, I can't be here, no matter what, you will ultimately still fall into the same pattern that's already been predetermined.
Right.
So it was a really, really heavy episode for like a 12-year-old.
That's interesting.
It was a young kid's show. I can't believe that.
Well, yeah, I mean, you would. What's weird is we all know we're going to die. That's something we all have in common. That's the one thing we all can agree on. Yeah, you're going to die. Yeah, I'm going to die.
Yeah.
And it's weird how we know this, and we always talk about call your loved ones or try not to take things. In fact, I saw a great quote that I said on the show today. It was the rule of 5.
The 5.
And it said, in 5 years, if it's not going to matter in your life, don't spend more than 5 minutes thinking and worrying about something. I just feel like a lot of times we as humans worry about everything. I mean,
For sure.
everything. We take everything so personal.
Right.
We're so emotionally drained. And I mean, I just think that's the human, just the human, that's how we are. Some people are better than dealing with stress than others, but it's just bizarre how we can't say, all right, we're gonna die one day. Some of the small shit really does not matter at all. I get caught up in it too. I'll have moments where I'll be like, come on, man, you're gonna die one day. And I don't mean that as a morbid thing. I mean that as a positive thing, honestly. I mean, don't sweat the small shit,
Right.
because life is too short, and that's really what I'm going with all that. But then I'll get caught up in the rat race or whatever the rat race is to you, and then the ego starts taking over. Like, I got to make sure I do this and do that, and shit that doesn't matter.
Totally.
You forget about the whole end game.
Yeah.
I think that's why people love distractions so much. I mean, mortality's pretty heavy. So.
It is heavy, but I think it doesn't always have to be as depressing.
For sure. Same with like cultures who celebrate
Yes.
funerals opposed to mourning. So
Yeah, I mean, I know we talk a lot about my mom, but I mean, my mom was the first real death in my life where it had a impact on my life, and we were devastated when she passed away. But her funeral, if it was even called the funeral, was really at our house. It was a celebration, and we celebrated with food that she loved, and that actually made me feel a lot better. I don't. If I was to die tomorrow, I don't want people crying.
Yeah.
I would rather have celebration.
absolutely.
And that, to me, takes a little bit of the sadness away from it.
It does. It's hard though, man. Everybody handles it all differently.
I agree. I completely agree. Oh, and what I say is not gospel. It's
No,
just,
absolutely.
It's just something that worked for me in a very dark time.
For sure.
And all I know is that if I go before Bobby Joe, I am going to bug the crap out of her.
I would totally-
I'm going to go to her house every day. I'm going to leave EVPs every time I get a chance. She's never going to sleep.
I want to
again.
haunt like crazy.
I'd be the biggest troll as far as ghosts. I'd be leaving shit everywhere. Oh, I'd be so in your head in a fun way.
Dude, it'd be so awesome to haunt.
It would be very fun to hunt. You were talking, and we brought it up a little bit today on the podcast, the Earthbound verse, and what else did you say? You said Earthbound and
Visitation. People
My
who come
mom,
in
you said, is a visitation type spirit.
Yes, I believe her to be here in visitation.
What are some of the signs that someone's a visitation spirit compared to an Earthbound?
Well, like the movement, the fact that if that is truly her on that EVP, obviously she has no connection to that place in Pompano. So she is free to move wherever she wants to. A lot of time, earthbound spirits are going to be stuck in one particular location.
It's bizarre because you've had a couple of things go on with my mom, and what is she trying to? I mean, people are asking. Okay, she's trying to get a hold of Vicky. You even said in your message to me today, you said it's almost like your mom's trying to get a hold of me to get to you for something. Like,
yeah,
is there a message
I
here?
think. Well, I text you the other day. You guys were talking about things that make you suspicious of people, and you mentioned that your mom was very much like Virginia, is suspicious of everybody. And
a knock on the door. I mean, still as an adult, when my someone knocks on the door, I kind of hide a little bit because that's how we were growing up. Who is it? It was always a murderer.
Yeah.
So the fact that she trusted me a couple times to come to me to start the line of communication, that's incredible.
Yeah.
That's like one of the best presents I myself have received in a long time.
Well, that's cool.
She wants you to have
Because-
she wants you to have a successful podcast.
Hey, maybe it is.
Showing up on our EVPs.
Maybe she has some things to talk about with Mr. Bitch Boy Beckett over here.
That's right. She's already making fun of me.
Yeah, it's all very fascinating, and I would like to see if you've got more stuff in those EVPs. I know you have some more stuff to come.
Yeah, we still have some more to review. I've also run a recorder today for our show
Oh,
to see if we
you
get
pick up
anything.
any.
Yeah, so it's been running, and I have the investigators coming to my house on Saturday to see if she is going to be there and see if she can speak in the recorders at my house.
I love it.
Very cool.
I think it's all awesome. Yeah, I would be, if you do find anything on those EVPs, email me right away because we will play them. We'll play the shit out of them.
So we've been talking death a lot. I believe in that email, there's a pretty cool little question that they ask.
Well, thank you for that setup, Denny. Hey, guys, 99% of the population is always so obsessed with what happens to us after death. But the real question is, where were we before birth, and why no recollection? What are your guys' thoughts? Would like everyone's input. Daniel or Danielle?
Is it 2 L's and an E, or is it just 1 L?
It doesn't matter. D from Coral Springs. All right, Vicky, why don't you take this one? You go first.
I mean, there's a couple different schools of thought. If you are a strict Christian, you believe we just didn't exist until one day we, were formed and born and lived our life.
What do Christians believe that was there? And I apologize. I'm not trying to offend anybody. I'm not well versed on a lot of the religion stuff. That's why I'm so fascinated by it. Is there a belief of? Was there ever anything before God? Was there nothing? How does that work?
It's not addressed in the Bible. It says that he was there. It doesn't tell you that there was anything before him.
It's never addressed.
Not to my knowledge. It's he is God, and then he's the one that created everything. It doesn't talk about before he exists. That doesn't exist in the Bible.
Is that a question that's ever brought up? Like, hey, is there a prequel to this?
I think they just imagine he's been around, kind of creating it all.
Well, that's one of the things that a lot of people argue. The difference between science and religion is because we have carbon dated things back to before what the Bible claims is the beginning of time. And, a thinking strict Christian may say, well, that God didn't say he made everything new. He could have used old materials to make this, and that's why it's carbon dated so much older than what the Bible says it is.
Because they don't like the dinosaurs and stuff, all that, because
Right.
that would predate.
Or evolution.
Yeah, for sure. That would all predate.
Would you ever ask those kind of questions?
Oh yeah, I asked those questions. I asked my teachers in religion class at Pope all the time.
And were they cool with how they would answer, or would you ever get any pushback if you were kind of going against what maybe?
The only teacher that I didn't really agree with is I may have brought this up before. He said that animals don't go to heaven.
Oh
Yeah.
yeah.
And this girl in my class had just lost her dog, and she left class.
It was a rough time
And-
for her.
And you had the
Crying.
hots for her, so you're like, I
I
gotta.
gotta go comfort her.
Yeah.
Come here, baby.
But he was staunch on that. Like there's some people that are orthodox that interpret everything literally, and then you have so many divisions off.
Well, that's what I'm
off the
saying. There's so
church.
many interpretations of the Bible.
Right.
I mean, so many.
There is weird
Not to cut you off.
to see people believe in something but still fight with even within.
Even within.
Well, it's like a vegetarian and a vegan fighting. We're like, come on, like can't we get along? And
No,
like,
man, you eat cheese. Cheese is bad.
Yeah.
When I did my vegan thing, I kept on. We did a vegan challenge on the air.
We did it for
30 days.
Yeah,
I lost
30
a
days solid.
shit ton of weight.
for
too,
sure.
man.
You really do.
I lost a lot of weight.
And you feel good. You sleep better. Weirdly, I noticed
yeah.
better sleeping.
By week 3, I really did feel some benefits.
Yeah.
But I remember I kept on bitching and moaning about how I haven't had cheese,
Yeah.
and I kept on getting this one person. You are a cow murderer if you eat cheese.
Yeah, I mean, a lot of the common wisdom is going towards more plant-based. Even if you still eat animal proteins, it's going more plant-based to do Alzheimer's disease and
For sure.
and heart attacks and all those things like that. And a lot of religion, it's kind of sometimes I have a tough time reconciling some things where people worship things that man made, whether it's a flag or a Bible can't fall on the ground. But then they see something that's made by God, if you're religious, and they're like, slaughter that, So that we want to worship things that are inanimate, that a man made, but we don't treat with compassion things that God made. You know, which is
Yeah,
kind of
it's very true.
it's a weird way to look at things.
It's almost like humans have a superiority complex.
Yeah,
Because we are.
Well,
Well, I mean, by comparison,
yeah, we're king.
humans
shit
are
of F
odd,
Mountain.
man. We create art, we create music, we create things, we build. Like a lot of animals don't really. They have their limitations, and I always thought that was weird.
But I really do. I mean, the older I have gotten, I really started to. I mean, I don't know. It's almost like a click just to see the genius in animals. I mean,
Amazing.
they do things that
For
humans
sure.
can't do. And when you say, humans think we're so,
You're
above
right.
everybody, I mean, there's so much genius out there that we probably don't even understand. I know we have scientists. I know
Yeah.
they say, no, this is why this mammal does this.
Right.
But we really don't know.
Yeah,
I
yeah.
mean, everything is vocabulary words.
Humans are odd because we make our own protection. Like rhinoceros, they're already built with armor, and creatures are all designed to fall into the ecosystem. Humans, we have like incredible knowledge. We're very dexterous, and we can problem solve. We can band together. We can communicate, and all these things. It takes a pencil to kill you. Like if you get stabbed in your neck, I mean nothing. It takes barely anything to kill a human. That's why we have so much stuff to protect us all the time.
I think beavers are one of the few animals that also alter their habitat like humans, like beavers.
to be like aesthetically pleasing or geometrically like
Well, they
spaced
change
out.
they put dams up, right? And they change,
For sure.
change the way water goes and stuff like that
For their
For
benefit.
their benefit, yeah. But to your point, what's crazy about science is that what science does know is like you hear about in the news and science how bees and ants are like vital.
For sure.
Vital to our, like if they were to be exterminated, like the whole system collapses. And not that I'm advocating the extermination of humans, but if humans were to die, be extinct, the whole world benefits. Nature benefits from the demise of humans. But if bees or ants get killed,
For sure.
everything
if anything gets
falls
knocked
back.
out of the cycle.
That's how important they are.
Have
You're
you guys
right.
ever seen that show? What if
What if yes, I
what
have
if
seen
humans
that.
didn't exist, or the end of
Or it was like if human race was extinct, what would happen to time after?
I believe it was on
Everyone's
the
stoked.
it was on the Discovery Channel, but it was fascinating to watch. 'Cause
It's
what
very
it does,
cool.
It shows, it goes, okay, the first year, this is what will happen. And it shows like all the power going out globally.
It's awesome.
And then it goes, now what will happen is all of the dogs and the cats that were once domesticated will go onto the streets, and then they become wily and crazy. And
Right.
you're like, and then by year 500, everything starts to flourish. It was
Yeah.
very fascinating.
But to Denny's point, when he was talking about how easy it is to kill humans, if you want to go from the biblical standpoint, we weren't intended to be violent. We were supposed to live in paradise.
For sure. And then we
So maybe
messed it
that's
up.
why
And
we
then we
don't
messed it
have
up.
any,
But then I
defense.
mean, you give them one shot. Like even baseball's got 3 strikes. Like seriously, you take one bite of an apple and it's game over.
Gosh, I love when Denny's talks sports.
I know.
I love it.
I mean, no second chance on that.
what's-
You don't know any of the rules. You're dropped into a garden.
I'll probably get some hate mail. But a lot of the religions,
Oh, we're getting some hate mail on this
Yeah.
podcast.
yeah, a lot of the religions, if you talk about Islam, Christianity, Judaism, they're all from the Abraham, disciple of Jesus, Abraham, right? So like they're all, or maybe they're all,
Look, yeah, don't ask me about because I will not get the answers right. Yeah.
but they have more in common than they have differences. I
yeah,
guess is
all the
overwhelming
stories
point.
are very similar. It's just the characters have been named different names.
Yeah,
But most of the stories have similarities.
yeah.
I do find it so interesting. I love to learn about what people believe in, whether they believe in anything, whether they believe in everything, what they believe in when they die. I think it you learn a lot from people that
Yeah.
way.
So I think we answered that lady's question.
I think we did. I think we spent 20 minutes on it. D from Coral Springs. Go ahead, Denny's.
I think we got to wrap up shortly.
We do have to wrap up. Virginia's got a double D's.
Such a
Speaking of
diva.
Virginia, I clicked on the Google bar.
Yeah.
Should I say what came up?
I don't know, man.
Okay.
What is it?
Well, there's like benign ones. There's like Bremen, Honda, Palm Beach, but the last one is, can you control lie detectors with your sphincter?
Oh,
Oh yeah.
I tried not to crack up during the middle of the podcast.
We talked.
Yeah.
Virginia claims you can beat a lie detector test, but it's all
The
about the
theory
butthole.
is if you apply pain to yourself or discomfort in some way and answer questions truthfully while doing that, it'll show the same reading that is if you just naturally answer a
I
question
thought people just
falsely.
put like a little like finger tack under their toe.
A lot of people put the tack in the shoe.
Nope, it's all in the butthole, man.
You could just,
Yeah.
I mean, save money on the tack. Just use your sphincter.
I always believe if the cops came in right now and they brought me down to the precinct and said, "Did you murder that girl?" it would come back that I, without a doubt, murdered her.
Because you'd be
seriously-
nervous.
You would look
Oh
so
my
guilty.
gosh.
I believe
As
that.
soon as a cop is behind me, I drive like I have got 30 pounds of cocaine in my car. I'm constantly looking back. If a cop gets behind me, I become such a shitty driver, and I'm not that good to begin with. All right, that's a good note to end on.
Yeah.
All right, guys, we love you all. We'll hear and see you next week, and Bigfoot is real.
What was that? What? What's that sound? It's aliens.